Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Ecosystem, and today in this video we will start with, or we'll cover with, part 3. Now let's begin with the first question here. Which ecosystem has the maximum biomass? I think this is a very, it's a repeated question. Okay, so you're given 4 options here: grassland, pond, lake and forest. So which is the huge of all these 4? It is a forest. Forest ecosystem has a maximum biomass, and when we talk about forest, we always have to remember the other things like tropical rainforest, the equatorial forest, all that comes under it, right? So out of the 4, which is the largest? If you see, it is a forest. Okay, you have the coral reef, sugarcane fields, everything which comes under this. Therefore the correct answer to this question is option D. Next question here: which of the following is a characteristic feature of the cropland ecosystem? Okay, so we have 4 options. Obviously you will have the presence of soil organisms, so this is wrong. Least genetic diversity, absence of weeds, this is also wrong, because when it comes to a field, a cropland, obviously you will have weeds. Ecological succession, that is also, that will not be present to that extent, because there is a least genetic diversity. Cropland ecosystem is the largest anthropogenic ecosystem that is characterized by less you will see the genetic diversity will be the less, but the production will be more, because we work on targeted production, right? We are not working on the basis of creating an adverse or a place where all organisms can survive. We have a restricted growth there. Therefore the correct answer to this question is option B. Next question here: which of the following would appear as the pioneer organisms on bare rocks? Very easy question. If you clearly watch, I think you'll be able to answer now. Liverworts, green algae, obvious, it's one form of algae. Okay, because whenever you see those moistured rocks, you see algae growing on it. But when it comes to, a pioneer organism on bare rocks would be lichens. Lichens produce small amount of carbonic acids from the roots, and they slowly dissolve the rock, releasing nutrients. Other nutrition are obtained from the waterborne or airborne particles of both organic and inorganic materials. The body of a lichen will contain 2 things. One is an alga plus a fungi. Okay, so these live in a symbiotic association, and they never harm each other, but they take what is required for each, and they live in a very mutual understanding. Okay, so which of the following would appear on pioneer organisms on bare rocks is lichens. So when they release these acids, they have the capability to dissolve a rock, it seems. Okay, next question here: secondary succession takes place on or in dash. Okay, what do you mean by secondary succession when it comes to the terms of ecosystem? When it comes to the terms of ecosystem. Okay, so here if you see, you have primary, secondary and so on. Secondary succession is a series of community changes which takes place on the previously colonized but disturbed or damaged habitat. Examples include areas which have been cleared by the existing vegetation and destructive events. Okay, so when I talk about secondary succession, you also have a primary succession. Okay, but I'll give you some examples here. Secondary succession is a series of community change. What did I say? It's a community change which take place in the previously colonized but disturbed or damaged habitat. So what examples can you take here is, imagine there is a forest fire, okay, tree falling in woodlands, or because of some storm or something, the ecosystem is disturbed. So that you call it as secondary succession. It includes areas which have been cleared of existing vegetation, such as after a tree felling, and destructive events such as fire. Okay, therefore the correct answer will be option A. I said it's a disturbed area, so it's a degraded forest. Okay, next question here: during ecological succession, dash. So this question was asked in the year 2015. You have to analyze the statements given here. The establishment of a new biotic community is very fast in its primary phase. Wrong. The numbers and the types of the animals remain constant. Again, wrong. The changes lead to the community that is near equilibrium with the environment, and it is called as pioneer community. Okay. So here we are asking about the ecological succession. So it should be gradual and predictable change in the species composition, and that will occur in a given area. Okay, so that happens during the ecological succession, right? Next question here. Increase in concentration of a toxicant at the successive trophic levels is known as dash. Now here you have given biodeterioration, biotransformation, biogeochemical and biomagnification. So what do you think will be the answer here? So here they are asking about the increase, right? So when we say increase, something in more amount. Biodeterioration is where the amount will get lowered or it will get lessened. So it's not biodeterioration. Biotransformation, you might have increased, you might have decreased. So again, that is not the answer. Biogeochemical is involved with the geography part. Again, it's not the answer. The right answer is biomagnification, which means to increase in concentration. Biomagnify, magnify is increase, right? So that will see the increase in concentration of toxicant at successive trophic levels of the food chain. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option D. So here you have a picture which shows bioaccumulation and biomagnification. So bioaccumulation is the increase of concentration of pollutant in an organism, while biomagnification is the increase in concentration of pollutant in the food chain. Okay, that's the major difference that you need to know. Next question here. During biological nitrogen fixation, inactivation of nitrogenase by oxygen poisoning is prevented by dash. Okay, so you're asking us a solution. Okay, so you have four options: xanthophyll, carotene, cytochrome. Xanthophyll, carotene, or cytochrome, all these are pigments. Okay, so pigments, all are actually pigments, but xanthophyll, carotene, cytochrome, they don't help in that. The actual answer is leg hemoglobin. So anybody has heard about this leg hemoglobin? See, leg hemoglobin, also called as leg hemoglobin or LiGo-hemoglobin. It's an oxygen carrier. So what is it actually? It is an oxygen carrier and hemoprotein found in the nitrogen fixing root nodules of the leguminous plants. So that is why they have taken the leg from the leguminous and hemoglobin for the content. Okay, so what is the role if you see? It is an oxygen carrier and hemoprotein found in the nitrogen fixing roots of the nodules of the leguminous plants. This maintains an oxygen concentration that is low enough to allow nitrogenase to function. So the action of oxygen will be suppressed so that the nitrogenase can act. So during biological nitrogen fixation, inactivation of the nitrogenase by the oxygen poisoning is prevented with the help of leg hemoglobin, which is option D. Next question here. An association of individuals of different species living in the same habitat and having functional interactions is dash. Easy question. I think all of you will now guess what the answer is. Yes, it is called as biotic community. So when here we are talking in terms of association, but ecosystem, it's actually the generalized thing that you can say. But when I say about biotic community, okay, we are considering everything here, right? We are considering everything here. While population, it can be selective. So again, that cannot be the answer. And if you say ecological niche, that is also a specific thing. But a biotic community, if you see, it is also known as biota, or you can call it as biosynosis. Is a group of organisms that live together and interact with each other within an environment or habitat. Together, the biotic community and the physical landscape or the abiotic factors will make up an ecosystem. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option A. Next question here, you need to match the following here. So you have earthworm, succession, ecosystem service, population growth. So what would be the answer? Okay, so here earthworm is a detritivore which will act on the what? It will act on the dead decayed matter, organic matter, and it will produce minerals which is required for the soil. Succession, if you see, will come in for pioneer species. We already saw that in the earlier question. Ecosystem service helps in pollination, while population growth is involved in natality. The products of the ecosystem processes are termed as ecosystem services. So that is what they have mentioned here. So natality refers to the number of the births during a given period in a population growth. That is why when it comes to a population growth, we refer natality. Therefore, the correct answer is option D. Next question here. Which one of the following is a primary consumer in the maize field ecosystem? Very easy question. It is obviously not the lion, wolf and the phytoplankton, but it is a grasshopper. Right. In ecosystem, producers are the plants, and phytoplankton belong to the first trophic level of herbivorous or primary consumer. Now, primary consumer is a grasshopper because they are the small insects which consume the first part, and then it moves to the next stage in the food chain. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. Next question here. When man eats fish which feeds on zooplankton which have eaten small plants, the producer in the chain is dash. Okay. They are asking us the producer, they are not asking us the next person in the food chain. So you have to clearly understand the question here. When a man eats fish and that is feeding on the zooplankton, they are small plants. So the producer in the chain is what? It is the small plants, because from the small plants, the zooplankton are eating. And this zooplankton are feedden by the fishes, and fishes in turn eaten by the humans. So the producer begins from the small plants. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option B. So you need a little logic to answer this question, nothing else. Right. Next question here. Heritema and its close relatives derive nourishment from dash. So what is this heritema? It's actually the earthworm. Okay, you don't have to get confused. Earthworm derives its nutrient from the decaying matter. As we already saw, they are one of the detrivores, and they take in and they work or they act on the dead decaying organic matter, which thereby they take the nutrients for themselves, and the requirement for the soil is also given. Therefore, the right answer to this question is decaying fallen leaves in soil organic matter. Very easy question. I think you don't have to have much explanation, but now I think it will be fine for you because it's understood. Next question here. Identify a possible link A in the following of the food chain. Very easy question. Plant is eaten by the insect, insect is eaten by the frog, and the frog will be eaten by the cobra. Very easy question, right? I think you don't need much explanation, and I'm sure I think you all understood what the answer is. Next question here. Given below is an imaginary pyramid of numbers. What could be one of the possibilities about certain organisms at some of the different levels? Okay. The correct answer is option A. Level PC in insects, level SC is small in. So what does PC and SC stands for? Maybe that you should know. That is PC in I'm talking in terms of ecology, right? We can make it like that, right? Ecology we are talking about. So you have something called EC, not EC. We have PC and we have SC there. Okay. So when we talk in terms of PC and SC, it is a possibility. Okay, PP in phytoplanktons in C, and the whale, which is the top level, which is TC. Okay, so here if you see, we are starting from the low level. Okay, now when you talk about the pyramid, okay, imaginary pyramid, see, the number, biomass and energy of the organisms gradually decrease from the producer level to the consumer level. This can be represented in the form of pyramid, which is called as ecological pyramid. Ecological pyramid is a graphic representation of the number. So what all it comes here? You have the number, biomass and energy of the successive trophic levels of an ecosystem. So therefore the correct answer to this question is option A. Next question here, which one of the following is not the function of the ecosystem? Easy question, it's direct also. So we all know energy flow, productivity and decomposition is a part of the ecosystem. Okay, what do you mean by stratification? What do you mean by stratification? Only if you know the meaning of it, you will understand what they are trying to say. See, stratification can be defined or explained in terms, there is a different terms in each study, but when we come to a biology terms, it is a field of ecology that refers to the vertical layering of the habitat, and it is the arrangement of the vegetation in layers. It classifies the layers of vegetation largely according to the different heights to which the plants grow. Okay, so productivity, energy flow, nutrient cycling, decomposition are the main functions of the ecosystem, while stratification is not the function of ecosystem, that is what we do. Okay, that's the only difference. Therefore the correct answer is option D. With this we come, so you have the vertical stratification example down. Okay, so vertical structure of communities from the aquatic to terrestrial, all are structurally similar in that zone. So it is the vegetation that we do. Okay, so with this we complete the part 3 of ecosystem. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.